guys, I'm SimplyUniqueCrochet, and today I will be doing a How to Crochet for Beginner series. We're going to learn to do a slip knot, the single crochet, and how to build on that from there, as well as the materials you're going to need. So we're going to start off that you're going to need yarn, and I recommend a medium for acrylic yarn, being that it's nice and it's thin and it's easy to see and count your stitches on. And then you're going to need a hook. So my personal preferences that I constantly use with my business is a 4mm and a 5mm. The 4mm is going to give you tighter stitches, obviously giving it a fuller look, but the 5mm will make your stitches looser and make it easier to begin with. So for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to be using my 5mm. Lastly, you're going to need scissors, and this is because at the end we have to fasten off, and you'll have to cut it. So let's learn our basic stitches. Let's get into it. So now that we have our materials, we have our yarn, we have our hook, I've already unraveled some of my yarn. We're going to take the end right here. This is our tail. This is our beginning. And we're going to learn to do our slip knots. We're going to put our hooks down. This is right here. So to do your slip knot, you're going to hold it and wrap it around your pointer finger to make an X. Leave it loose that you could easily wiggle it around. And you're going to take the piece, this long piece that's connected to your yarn, and push it through your hole. So here's our tail, that's our short piece, here's our working piece, and we're pulling the working piece through and creating a little knot right there, and that's a slip knot. So I will do that one again. We're going to take our tail, we're going to wrap it around our finger, creating a cross. We are going to take it off our finger, so now you have a little loop. Here's our tail and here's our working yarn, and you're going to pull, there's our working yarn, you're going to pull it right through this little loop, pull these, and then you have your slip knot. So that is how your slip knot's gonna look. I'll do that again. So take working yarn around these 3 fingers and then over this one, and then I use my middle and my thumb to hold my working piece, and I keep my pointer pointing up. And this is all up to preference on how you feel comfortable holding your yarn and your hook, but this is how I hold mine. So we're going to be doing just a basic square swatch to show you this. So we're going to start by chaining 10. After we made our slip knot, we're going to chain 10. So to do this, you're going to take your hook and you're going to go under the working yarn that's being held. So see how it crosses over, and you're going to pull it through your slip knot. And it's going to create this little bubble looking here. Let me zoom here, this little bubble, and that's your first chain. So that's 1, and then we're going to yarn over and pull it through. Now you have 2, yarn over and pull through. So basically yarn over is your basic stitch, and what we do is, as we're holding it, because this is our work, this little chain here is our work, this is our working yarn, just take your hook, and you're not going to want to go around like that. You're going to want to make sure that when you go, you're going in from the left to the right. So then you have that, and pull through again. And we're going to do this 10 times. So this is why I said it's easier to have medium 4 yarn, because see how you can count each one of them. So there's my first stitch, second stitch, third stitch, fourth stitch, fifth stitch. See, you're very easily able to count each of your stitches. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches there. That's 4 stitches, and we're going to get to 10. So yarn over, that's 5, yarn over, pull through, 6, yarn over, pull through, 7, yarn over, pull through, 8, yarn over, pull through, 9, yarn over, pull through, 10. So there is 10. Now this is a very small swatch, so you may even want to chain more. So I'm going to do 15 here. Through 15. And this is just to make a nice little swatch. So you're going to be working from right here to this stitch right here. So if you want your square to end up being 15 long, you're going to chain 1 more to make 16, because you need a turning chain. Turning chains, it makes your work stay square. So if you're making a square and you only chain 15, when we start making our second row, your square is going to decrease down to 14, because it needs to use that stitch right there to turn. See how I use that to turn and start the next one? That is why we need the turning stitch. So whatever you're doing, you're always going to want to chain 1 more. So if something says to chain 20, you're going to want to chain 21 so that you have your turning stitch. So now that we have a turning stitch, we are going to take, and I'm going to zoom in here, and we're going to have a look. So we want to start our next row. So this is where our hook is currently at, in this stitch right here. We're going to go into this stitch right after it. So we're going to take our hook and we're going to insert it right here into this loop. See, so I have one stitch over here. I have the rest of my stitches here, and I inserted it. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to pull it through the loop. Okay, see how it's through that loop? I have 2 loops now on my hook. We only ever want to have 1 on our loop. So then we're going to yarn over again, and we're going to pull it through. Both of those right there. That is a single crochet. You just did a single crochet on your second row. So we're going to do that again. So you see, here's our next one right here. We're going to insert the hook, insert our hook into, and this is why I said tight stitches. I'm a tight stitcher, but right there I inserted my hook, yarn over, pull it through. Now there's 2, and then yarn over, pull through. Now we have 1 on the hook, and that's our second single crochet. So we're going to do that again. Insert in here, yarn over, we're going to pull that through. There's now 2 right here on our hook, and we're going to yarn over and we're going to pull through again. So now you have 3. And you have to do that until you reach this guy right over here at the end, because there's our slip knot, that little lump at the end, the little knot. And then right there's our first actual chain. So you're going to have to go into each stitch like this, yarn it over, pull it through so that you have 2 on your hook, and then yarn over and pull it through again. So we're back. I am here. I have 1 stitch on my last chain to do here. And if yours is curling in like this, that's completely fine. The square will straighten out as you continue. So the rule of thumb is, you're probably wondering, well, how many times do I have to go up for my chain? Well, we did 15 as our foundation, which is right across the bottom here. So you're going to want to do 15 rows upward if you want to have a perfect square. Otherwise, you'll end up with a rectangle. But see how you can definitively see each one of these little bumps? Each one of those bumps is 1 chain, 1 stitch. That's what you're going to count. So when something says like count to make sure that you have 20, so we're going to have to count to go to make sure we have 15. So I'm here at the end, right here before our slip knot. I have 1 more stitch to do. So I'm going to go into my stitch. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to pull it through. 2 on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to pull through both. There is 15. So then you can stop and count each one of your little bumps here. So I have 15 here. That means I've entered each one of my stitches and I didn't end up losing any. Therefore, my work will not continually shrink as I keep working. So to start our next row, because you're probably wondering, well, where do I go from here? I only have 1 row. There's no more ways. There's no turning chains. We are going to create a turning chain. So now that you've finished your last one, you're going to yarn over, not insert, and just pull through 1. So you have this extra little hanging guy here. He's going to be your turning chain. So what you do is you turn your work. You're going to be working on the reverse side. So see how originally he was like this, heading towards the bottom of my hook? I'm not holding my hook, but he is going this way now. So we're going to hold our yarn again. Like I said, I put it through 3 fingers and then around my pointer. And let me just zoom out here a little bit. So now we're here. You have now your turning chain you just created. And you're going to repeat the pattern of inserting your hook, yarning over, pulling it through. You have 2, yarn over, pull it through. So now you've just done 1 again. So insert, yarn over, pull through, and pull through again. So we're going to continue this all the way until you get to your last stitches over here, these last 2. See, there's 2 bumps there, and I will meet back up with you to explain it. So we're back. I am here. I have 1 stitch on my last chain to do here. And if yours is curling in like this, that's completely fine. The square will straighten out as you continue. So the rule of thumb is, you're probably wondering, well, how many times do I have to go up for my chain? Well, we did 15 as our foundation, which is right across the bottom here. So you're going to want to do 15 rows upward if you want to have a perfect square. Otherwise, you'll end up with a rectangle. So now we are back. I have done my second row here. As you can see, I'm forming these little tiny posts, but we can count from this one here. We do not count the turning chain that's right here on the side. We're going to count from this guy here over to the one that's on my hook. Currently, I have 13 stitches, but that's because we still have 2 more to do right here. So we are going to insert again. We're going to pull it through. You're going to have your 2. We're going to pull through again. That's 14. Now, there's this one little tiny guy right here, and he's kind of leaning towards the bottom because he was our first turning chain. Remember when I said chain 16 if you want to have 15? He was our first turning chain on our foundation. So we're going to enter him because we want to keep 15, because now if I skip him and go up to another row, like make my turning chain and continue, my work is slowly going to decrease. So we insert into that little foundation turning chain. We're going to pull through. We're going to have our 2, and we're going to pull through one more time, and now we have 15. So we could look at our work here and see how he's completely even. He's up even square right there. So to do this again, we're going to do exactly what we did. We're going to go like this, yarn over, pull it through, turning chain right here, and then we're going to flip our work. So now I have it heading towards my left hand, hold my yarn, and then skip this turning chain and go right here into this big chain. So I'm going to go in here, yarn over, pull it through, pull through. There we go. So once you've reached that, we're going to continue down, and then remember, I will meet up with you right here, but remember, we're going to go into the turning chain again so that our work does not shrink. So I'm back. I have completed a 3rd row, which you could see all the little bumps if you want to count through. And I have one more here, which was our original turning chain. So I'm going to grab my yarn, insert my hook, and yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, pull it through. So that is your 3rd row. As you can see, it's forming, it's starting to count upwards. I'm going to do this 15 rows. So I will do my rest of my rows and meet back up with you to fasten off. So I just finished doing row 8 out of 15. This is what it is looking like so far. When you set it down, if it is curling up, that is absolutely normal. Usually in crochet and knit, squares like this that are just one basic stitch after another, they do curl up unless they are blocked. Blocking is a way of making them stay square, but that is obviously for another video. I honestly do not recommend it on my own terms, but that is probably because I am doing it wrong. But that is our stitches so far. So I'm going to go ahead and finish out the rows, and then I will be back to show you what a finished square of 15 by 15 looks like. So I have returned. I have finished my 15 hair foundation, and I did 15 stitches up, and I got a square. It's about as big as the palm of my hand. It's very little, but it's a swatch, and it gets the practice of 15 rows and 15 foundation stitches and 15 turning chains. So it's a nice way to work. And I mean, technically, if I fasten this off, it can be used as a small coaster for a drink. And I mean, you can obviously make it larger. So say maybe you want to do 20 by 20, or maybe you want a rectangle like for a keyboard or something. But this is your single crochet, and it is the basis of everything. So the last thing I'm going to show you is, I'm sure you're very proud of your work, and I'm very proud of you for doing it. You're going to want to keep it. So you're not going to want to just, you know, frog it out by pulling this. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your scissors, and I know we're now removing the ball of yarn. So we're just going to snip it. We're going to leave a little bit of a long tail. And now our ball of yarn is disconnected. There's the tail I was just working with right there. We are done with it. We now just have our hook and our piece. So what you're going to do, fastening off is seriously the easiest thing. So we have this, and this is the yarn you normally like yarn over with. We are literally just going to pull until it goes through, and you just have a long tail now. So you just pull it, and then you would normally just weave in your ends. I don't especially like weaving ends, and it gives me added security. So I add just one small knot up here at the corner, and it's completely unnoticeable by the time that you're done. And then you're going to take your scissors, you can snip off that tail right there, and you can come back down to your slip knot where you started and snip that tail. So now you have two little tails that you take it off, and there's your swatch. You just completed your first crochet project of the single crochet in a 15 by 15 square stitch. It's about the size of the palm of my hand here, which you could see here, but it is super cute. It is curling up. Blocking usually would fix this, or you can put maybe like a heavy book on it, and that will also flatten it out, like by giving it some weight, or maybe, you know, steaming it. Either way, that is your single crochet. I hope you enjoyed this video. Keep an eye out for my next video, on which I will be doing the double crochet and the triple or treble crochet, depending if this is the US terms or UK terms. But this will be a double crochet and the triple crochet on my next video on how to do that. But I'm so proud of you. Thank you for watching this video. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you again soon. Until then, that was Simply Unique.